All right, so this is the state of things in the battle for Germany after 2 complete turns. And I'm going to go ahead and call the game at this point because I've made enough mistakes, I think, all the way across the board to warrant a reset. It was fun playing, but it's been so long since I played. I messed up a lot of things in terms of just pure strategy for the Warsaw Pact. I jumped the gun with the pre-war movement. I forgot it's only the guys in Germany that get the pre-war move so they can get into their battle positions. I'd rolled for all the NATO guys on the board, and so some of these guys got to move unfairly. I don't remember how many of them moved, but imagine enough of them did. And then I did stupid things up here with the Warsaw Pact. I tried to run the guys that captured these locations. I tried to run them back down and get them into the battle for northern Germany because the breakthrough looked like it was about ready to happen here. And I forgot that, you know, there's reinforcements that could come in. I'm not sure if this is legal or not. I couldn't find a prohibition against it, but that when you roll for the territorials, they get to be placed in one of the cities in that country. And so there was a control, you know, flag here in Aarhus, but no unit there. So I couldn't find a reason why I couldn't, you know, plop that guy down. So Warsaw Pact's going to have to go and deal with that. I don't think I left enough guys to deal with Copenhagen adequately, so that's going to take some time to reduce. So, yeah, a few flaws in the strategy. The one place that things are going very well for the Warsaw Pact is in the southern part of the sector, and this is the sector that probably gets the unfair advantage with the pre-war move. There's just been just enough guys in position to deal with the breakthrough that was starting to happen in the southern sector. In the NATO counterattacks during the turn, the NATO pretty much gutted the 8th Army for the Soviets, destroyed 2 whole divisions in and around Würzburg. We stepped back from the line, retreated as a tactical retreat in the center, and then I spaced out the American divisions so that the Germans are between the Americans, and that adds a much more potent ZOC for hindering breakthrough movements for the Soviets. So the Soviets, if we do it another turn, they're going to find it tough sledding. So a few mistakes along the way. And then we had all the ridiculous die rolls for the air war. Just absolutely appalling luck for NATO. But, you know, sometimes that's just going to be how it's going to be. So in the next turn, what we'd end up doing is rolling to see how many of these guys are going to reset and become available. Your grounded units are going to come out of that box. We would figure out loss consolidation for the Soviets here and for NATO in the southwest sector. Probably before we went to turn 3, I'd transfer, just looking at the state of things here, I think I'd be tempted to transfer a unit over to the western sector here. The question is whether I send the MiG-27s up there and just leave these guys for air superiority missions in the south or not. There's not a lot of activity, just the way I sent everything all in here through Czechoslovakia, leaving Austria-Hungary, or Austria, excuse me, leaving Austria alone and Yugoslavia alone. That has been offset by the ability of Italy to airlift a lot of their units that aren't mechanized, airlift them into cities in Western Germany. So I don't know how much I gained by doing that versus starting up a war here, because you can plow through the Yugoslavian army. You can carve them up pretty quickly. The same thing goes with Austria-Hungary. I mean, they've got good proficiency ratings, but their troop strength is pretty low. So that's the situation there. I still got to check the rule. I don't remember. I got to double check if I should have been rolling for territorials for the neutrals. Well, I was under the impression, I guess I'm just kind of assuming, I shouldn't do that, but I'm assuming that you shouldn't roll for territorials if they're neutral. But maybe you are supposed to do that. I don't know. I'll have to double check that. So a few mistakes, enough mistakes along the way. Again, I haven't played this game in like 5 years. And so it was fun getting back into it. I really like the new system. I shouldn't say new system, the new look of the Compass Edition. I can't seem to find any new rules. So I don't think that there is anything different in terms of rules in this. The artistic depictions are a little bit different. And the only flaw, the only thing I found difficult to read is under certain lighting conditions, not always. Like right now I can see it just fine under natural light, but the border for the air zone, when it runs through the mountains, it's a little tough to read, but I found that there's different lights I can use to be able to see that. So that's been the only issue. Some people have mentioned they don't like the busyness of the counters. Let me pull this guy up here just so we can see what we're talking about. Personally, I don't find these busy. I find them exciting and not boring. The original counters, okay, they're nostalgic, but beyond that, they're kind of boring. The stripe across the top, that little red stripe, tells you an overall sector that this unit is going to be deployed in. I found that useful for counter organization. And that's an improvement in my book over the original, which I found a little challenging to organize, especially if you're not planning to play the whole shebang. So that's something I really do like about the new system. The stacking rating in the left-hand corner, you have the number 3 in the white circle. That is, it jumps out at you. It's easy to see. SU says Soviet Union, so it's really easy to tell what country you're dealing with. All of that looks good. I like the colored boxes inside the NATO symbol. That tells you what it tells you what army this is from, and or maybe it's Corps. I don't remember exactly which, but that's something I find that it's interesting to me. Some people don't like that. I find it interesting, and when they're not, colored inside the NATO symbol, I find them a little bit boring. I find when the NATO symbol is colored, it just kind of pops for me. The stripe that has the unit identification, like this says the 102nd Guards of the 21st Army, that is really helpful for determining stacking for the Soviets, because stacking gets reduced if you have units from different armies. So I find that to be something that's really useful. And again, it pops and it helps you to organize. So overall, I really like this. Now, there is one new thing in the new edition. I think I might have mentioned it in an earlier video. When you flip the counter over, the old counters used to have a setup location on the back. On the one hand, I kind of missed that. On the other hand, I found it, in terms of playability, I really like that I could just flip the counter over when it has one disruption, instead of having to obscure the stack with these disruption markers. I don't always have to use those. So if this takes one disruption, I flip them over, and that's especially important for the Soviets, because once they're disrupted, they can never go back to a 0 disruption status. The best they can ever improve to is disruption level 1. So I really do like that. When it takes a second disruption, what I'll usually do is just put it back to its original side and put a disrupt 2 marker on top of that stack. Using the overflow boxes was really super handy because I can kind of spread things out. I don't have to obscure counters. Found that to be super helpful. I really like that. It's really helpful for the NATO because you can tend to have larger NATO stacks because they have smaller units that are going to be clustered together helping in a particular battle. I found that to be a really nice feature. So my thoughts on it is, if you have any desire of playing this system, I would jump on this game now. I don't know how long this is going to stay in print, because this has been a popular and highly sought after game system for many years. It's back in print now. You can get it for a really good price. I've got mine for, I think, $175, and I think you can get it probably for about that if you look for a discount vendor. But I would definitely recommend this particular edition. It's really top-notch components. Something I maybe didn't mention before is just how thick the counters are. And these, I'm trying to get to focus on it. There we go. So you can see this is thicker than your standard white core counters. They feel like they have about the same thickness as some of like the GMT coin series type games. Most of the GMT's recent games have this level of thickness. That's what I'm sensing here. So really nice counters. They're clipping really nice with that Oregon Tools clipper. I'm not quite done with it, but I've gotten just about I've gotten all of this game, most of the markers. I still have all the other games to clip. So I'm going to be clipping for a while. But they do clip nice and fast, and it looks really nice on the table. So this is the Third World War, the Designer Signature Edition from Compass Games. And that's going to be a wrap on this particular series for now. Hope you enjoyed these videos. We'll see you again next time.